Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. We got two things. We got Colin Cowherd coming out and making some comments that I think are, in my opinion, pretty obvious. But if you're not ultra dialed into the league and you're just dialed into sports in general, I think these comments might surprise a lot of people. But he talks about Caitlin Clark and trading her away from the Indiana Fever.
She's back. Caitlin Clark has returned to practice. And just like that, the spotlight is shining bright on the Indiana Fever. But this isn't just about her running drills in compression gear. Although, oddly enough, even that's become headline-worthy. No, this is about the most talked-about name in the WNBA, maybe in all of sports, getting closer to a return. So here's the big question. Should she even be playing yet? Sure, she's back on the floor, grabbing boards, dishing passes, going through workouts. Then she faces the media and says, "I feel good. I'm taking it day by day, working with the medical staff to get right." Sounds promising, right? But here's the twist. She's questionable for the Commissioner's Cup final. A game that doesn't even impact regular season standings. A side tournament. Basically, an exhibition. So now we have to ask, what's really going on in Indiana? Why risk your star in a game that doesn't even count?
I said that was a conspiracy from the get-go. So here we go. Scott Agnes posted this, and Caitlin Clark is right here. Yeah, she's right here in some tights. I've never seen Caitlin Clark in tights, I don't think. So here we go, right here. She's going through, getting some shots. There she is, grabbing her own rebound, passing the ball to Aaliyah, and heading to the back of the line. And it makes you wonder, what's going on? Is there a possibility? Could they be targeting tomorrow night? This game, I went and looked, is on Amazon.
While Fever fans are busy watching Caitlin Clark gear up at practice, the sports media world is exploding, but for a whole different reason. Colin Cowherd just called Caitlin Clark the most untradeable athlete in all of American sports. Not Mahomes, not Shohei Ohtani, not even Nikola Jokic. Nope, Caitlin freaking Clark. Cowherd didn't hold back. He said Clark isn't just the face of the WNBA, she's the biggest star the league has ever had. And if Indiana even thought about moving on from her, fans would lose it. That's not exaggeration, that's reality. Just look at the numbers. WNBA merchandise sales are up 550%. TV ratings are smashing records. Arenas are packed. Even Cowherd said he's skipping summer vacation, because Clark's story is just that huge. So let's ask it again. Why is Indiana treating her like she's part of some preseason experiment? What are they waiting for?
On his list, to Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark. For starters, Clark has elevated the WNBA's merchandise sales and TV ratings. Cowherd also pointed out that Indiana would legitimately revolt if she was traded to another team. The city would melt down. I mean, you think there was a meltdown in Dallas when Luka got traded and Dallas melted down? That fan base went nuts. This would be on a whole nother level. Quote, Caitlin Clark is number one. Literally moved merchandise up 550% for the league. She's not only the face of the WNBA, she's the greatest face, the most popular face ever. If Indiana moved off of her, I think the fan base would absolutely revolt. She turned the Fever and the league around. She's untradeable.
Let's talk about the injury. The Fever say it's a groin strain and she's being monitored day by day. She didn't go through full practice, just some light, non-contact shooting. The medical staff is clearly being cautious. And yet, they haven't ruled her out for the Commissioner's Cup final. Why? Why even consider putting her in if she's not fully healthy? One analyst gave a wild take. Maybe she'll just play a few possessions, not to score, but just to pull defenders, or even just inbound the ball at the end of a quarter. Seriously? You want the biggest name in women's basketball to suit up mid-recovery just to throw in a sideline pass? What is this, a basketball game or a performance? Because right now, it's starting to feel more like theater than sports.
Have officially upgraded Caitlin Clark with the groin injury to questionable. And it's been a good thing, I guess, that she's questionable for the game. Obviously, Caitlin Clark only partially participated in the Fever practice. And look, it's a big game tomorrow. It is a big game tomorrow. And look, it just depends really for me on what the injury is. Like, again, there are certain injuries you can play through and it's not going to affect that injury long term. However,
we've seen this before. Remember when Caitlin Clark was coming off that quad injury? She was supposed to sit out. Then suddenly, she's back on the court. What happened next? She dropped 25 points in the first half against New York. That's just how she plays. There's no easing in. No minutes cap. When Clark steps on the floor, she goes all out. Every time. It's 100% or nothing. So here's the real question. Why take that risk now? Why put her in a position to possibly make the injury worse, especially for a game that doesn't count toward MVP races or WNBA honors? Is it really worth it for a cup game that barely moves the needle?
I would love to, I wouldn't mind it if I would, because it doesn't count for stats. If Caitlin, even if it's just to play 3 minutes, or just to play 1 minute at the end of the second quarter, just to kind of try to lift the team spirits, and just even just to take gravity away in that 1 minute. Because look, she's not going to hurt herself on 3 or 4 possessions. Let's be honest. If she's practicing, she's not going to hurt herself like that. Nothing showed up in an MRI. If it did, she wouldn't be listed as day-to-day. She wouldn't be talking about like she's playing. She wouldn't be practicing. So, look, she only did partial practice before the Liberty game. She came out in a 25 in the first half.
One content creator put it plainly. If she can give 5 minutes, send her out there. Really? 5 minutes? For what? They're acting like this is Game 7 of the finals. But let's be real, it's not. The Commissioner's Cup isn't a championship. It's not a playoff preview. It's a side event. And even if it were a big deal, who throws their franchise player out there at 90% just to hype up the energy? That's not smart coaching, that's setting her up for failure. We've seen how one deep three from Clark can change everything. She did it in Dallas, flipped the momentum, blew the roof off the place, and stole headlines. But that only happened because her body was ready for the moment. You can't fake that. You can't rush recovery. And you definitely shouldn't risk a 23-year-old with a healing groin just to help boost Amazon Prime's viewer numbers.
I think if she's 90%, send her out there for 5 minutes. Like, give her the Willis, put her in the Willis Reed role. Because, like, this is their Game 7. This is the biggest game Caitlin Clark has played since the college championship final, and it's the biggest game Caitlin Clark's going to play this year. Anyone saying, oh, the Fever need to be right for the playoffs, the Fever aren't winning shit. Let's be honest, the Fever are not winning shit. Like, Emma Messerman is going to one of the Aces, Liberty, or Lynx. Probably the Liberty or the Aces. And both of those teams, Aces are at least an equivalent team to the Fever right now. The Liberty are already better than the Fever.
The pressure being put on Caitlin Clark right now is ridiculous. She's 23. Aaliyah Boston? Also 23. And yet, it feels like Indiana's front office and coaching staff expect these two young players to carry the entire WNBA revival by themselves. Where's the veteran support? Where's the solid foundation around them? Colin Cowherd didn't hold back. He said the Fever need to do everything they can to give Clark the right teammates and coaches, or in 2 years, she could ask to be traded. That's the warning shot. If Indiana doesn't get it together, Clark might leave. And if she walks, the momentum, the hype, the growth, everything the WNBA has built around her, could collapse right along with it.